All right, Rebellion is here. Now, admittedly, I had a little problem trying to think how I want to explain something before I get started on this Impact Plus show. Or is it a pay-per-view? I can't remember. I don't think it's a pay-per-view. It's an Impact Plus show. Well, a TNA Plus show, I should say that. There's no more Impact Plus. But I had to say this before I get started. AAA has been bought by WWE. And I've already made my gut report on it. If you haven't seen it, check. My gut report has been made on my thoughts of what's happened with AAA. Hopefully it's clarified. But which I probably will make a follow-up video of AAA possibly being turned into NXT Mexico if they go there. And what the impact will be with the rest of the wrestling industry, particularly the indies. When it comes to indie wrestling, there's going to be a dynamic shift of what's going to happen in the next couple of months or maybe about a year or so from now. There is going to be a shift. We do not know if it's a great shift. That's what a lot of people are going to say, that it might be a great shift. In my humble perspective, it is not going to be a great shift. There's going to be a major shift that's going to mess up pro wrestling that is not from AEW or WWE. But you can check my gut report and see how I thought about it. But I got to say this. When you look at the first true change in WWE, yes, they've gone to New Japan Pro Wrestling Noah. They allowed Shinsuke Nakamura, they allowed Charlie Dempsey to work there. Hell, they even had someone in GCW. And Natalia's gone to NWA. She's going to challenge for, I think that's the next pay-per-view for NWA. I don't know. I think they're going to have their pay-per-view and she's going to be there trying to challenge for the title there. Which is actually very nice to see that she's actually getting that opportunity. Because I always thought if she leaves the company, she can go to NWA, TNA, and she would do pretty well. But seeing that she's there, that's good. But when you look at the first true collaboration, which is TNA and NXT, I was questioning how much TNA was going to get out of this. Because honestly, I did not believe they're going to get a lot out of this. And my feeling is still out there. I'm not going to tell you that everything is great with TNA. And I'm not telling you everything's bad with TNA either. It's still very new. It's barely been a year. So, for me personally, the judgment is not really there yet for me personally. Anybody else, they're fine with it. More power to you. But seeing this show, I can honestly tell you that it's a very good show. Much better than what they used to do at Impact Wrestling. Easily. Much better. I still do not agree with much of the creative aspects of TNA. Certain things I just do not agree with. I just don't. I don't agree with it. But I won't tell you that overall the product sucks, because it doesn't. It's actually been pretty good, particularly with the TNA Plus shows. Keep calling them Impact shows by accident. If I do say it, I'm sorry. Sometimes I slip and I go Impact instead of TNA. But I'm going to tell you here that legitimately, this is a good show. And because of the collaboration, they managed to do a couple of things here that you normally would not see that really does help the overall product. Now, I did not see the countdown. So just in case you guys ask, what did you think about the countdown? I didn't watch it. I'm not saying I didn't want to watch it. I just didn't have a chance to see it. So I don't know what happened there. But I was able to find out when they were showing the regular full card that due to the fact of travel problems, JTC could not show up and Moose would have to do double work. That means he had to do 2 matches, which was fine. That's not a bad thing. Moose is a professional and he's really good and he can handle doing double matches once in a while. First match we get is the X Division Ultimate X match, which we got Moose, Matt Cardona, we got Sidney Akeem, which is the former Scripps, who is also Reggie. You got Van Kingo, who is from AAA, which now that AAA does not exist anymore, I'm saying it, AAA does not exist. It don't make a difference what anybody says. It's been bought out by the company, and it's no guarantee how long they're going to keep the name and how they produce the way they produce. I'm sorry, don't get it twisted. But that's just how I feel. Also, Casey Navarro, and we did get AJ Francis at on commentary, which he didn't get a chance to speak because the speakers, well, not speakers, but let's give it like this. I guess something must have happened to his headset, and we could not hear it in our speakers. There you go. And who else? Leon Slater as well. The person that looked the best there, my goodness, was Leon Slater. I'm not a big Spot Fest guy. I'm just not. It's just not me. But if you compare, when it comes to NXT, where they got a lot of high-flying wrestlers, they just do. They just got a tremendous amount of them. And when you compare it to TNA, which they don't really have that many high-flying wrestlers. Yes, they do have KC. Yes, the Laredo Kid does show up. Now, I forgot the other guy that he's working with. That's now the Aztec Warriors. I don't remember his name right now. And Leon Slater as well. You got about four guys that generally are high-flying wrestlers. And because there's so few of them, it makes it easier to watch when one of them really does some very special work. And at one point during that match, and it was a pretty funny match. For some of it was serious, and other parts were funny, like what happened with Moose having Alicia go and try and get the title because he's too damn scared. He's going like this. I think I got a shot of him begging Alicia to go and climb it, and she could not make it all the way. She's not good with heights either. And it was, who was the one who kicked him in the face? I think it was Leon Slater who kicked him in the face. And Alicia was in his arms, and he fell back, and Alicia just sprawled and hit the floor. It was good. But then seeing Leon Slater, boy, if he is not hurt after what he did with that Swanton 450, I don't know if I got the shot. If it is, it's in my face. Look, I told you, I'm not a spot guy. I'm just not. It doesn't mean I don't like spots. It's just I don't like spot after spot after spot. I like to tell a story. I like it when you mix a little bit with spot, a little ground and pound, a little bit of psychology, and a little grapple. And then you try to put a little attitude into it. Not always go after the person immediately. Mess with the fans. Smack around your opponent. Mess with the ref. Play to the camera. That kind of stuff I feel is much more interesting than what you would have if you just did heavy spots in your matches. But I gotta say this. Leon Slater getting to the top of the scaffold, because the scaffold that holds the ring ropes together where the title is hanging, he goes legitimately to the very top of that damn thing. That's at least 20 to 25 feet up. I've seen in a, when it comes to the worst types of moves in pro wrestling, I think, not that, I think it was Devon, who was he with? I think RVD, I think. They were watching a matches together where people got injured or got hurt trying to do these moves. I think it was RVD. I can't remember who he's with. That reminded me of it. Particularly how Leon Slater was at the top. I do believe I got that shot. He jumps off of the scaffolding. That's more than 20 feet. That's at least nearly 25 to near 30 feet, I think. At least 20 to 30 feet. And he does a Swanton 450 onto everybody. They could not fully catch him when he finally opens up. And I think Moose was right near him. And who else was there? I think Matt Cardona, they just fully could not catch him. And he went chest first, splat. That was not good. They caught a piece of him, but not all of him. So when he hit the floor on the mat, that's like about this thick, guys. Understand, look at this. This is how thick some of those mats are. They're not like this. They're this, if you're lucky. Hopefully he's okay. He seemed to get up. He seemed to be fine. And he was the one who managed to get the title, pull it down from the ropes. And as he's jumping down, he gets speared by Moose. And Moose is the one who managed to get it because he didn't get a chance to put both his feet on the floor. So they gave it to Moose. But damn it, man, that was so bad. But with all that was going on, seeing Vankingo flying around and doing what he did, seeing that Moose and Matt Cardona, who are not big spot guys, who are just big guys who were in that match, who really made the smaller guys look good, particularly Next to Leon Slater was Casey Navarro, who looked very good. I can buy a Casey Navarro becoming an X Division champion. I can. And yes, we did get AJ Francis in there trying to help him up, putting him on his shoulders and move spears pretty much AJ Francis out of his sneakers. That's what we got, which was good. Next match, which was... I know people are going to say, really, this match? It was not bad, okay? We got the Tag Champs, the Ashes, versus Spitfire, versus the Metagirls, and versus a Gigi Golan and Tatum Paxley. Who were the best ones that looked the best? That was Spitfire. The best all around. They managed to cover for some of the other wrestlers who still are kind of green, like Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. The Cara Jackson, she's beautiful. There is no way around it. I was thinking, who is one of the most beautiful women that was in all 8 of those women? That is the Cara Jackson. She is a gorgeous looking woman. But if you really see what she does in the ring, she has not been in the ring a lot. She's acted more like a manager than anything else. And I'm not taking anything from her. She's not a bad wrestler, but she didn't look that good. Then you had Lash Legend, who is a good wrestler. She's worked on herself. I never liked the Bougie Bully, the character she had before the Bougie Bully. I didn't like it. But I can say honestly that she's developed herself into a pretty good wrestler. She knows how to talk pretty well. She has a good look. Yeah, she's a curvy little thing. Well, big thing, because I'm like this, she's like this. She's tall enough to be a basketball player, and she once was. And putting it mildly, she goes to the main roster, she will get over. Yes, she's another big black woman in the main roster where you're going to have pretty much Jade Cargill, her, Nia Jax. That's 3 big-ass women there, but she'll do pretty well on the roster with those other women. But when it came to Cara Jackson, she just didn't look that great. When it comes to Gigi Golan and Tatum Paxley, between the two, I think that Gigi is a more better well-rounded wrestler, and Tatum is more of a wrestler. And trying to explain that if you're talking about character, not just how curvy you look, that you can talk pretty well, you can work the ring, you have a certain level of charisma, you have a certain level that you can work a match, and more important, to be a leader in a match, I do believe Gigi is better than Tatum. But Tatum all around, taking away from she's not really great at talking, at least from what I can tell, her charisma is spotty since she's doing like a dollhouse type of thing. And when it comes to leading a match, she does very well. I think she does better than Gigi does. But overall, the ones who really made the match clean was Spitfire. But the one that made it the most entertaining, because there is the match itself where you did your moves and you made sure everyone looked good, and then the entertainment part, it's going to be only one person, and that was Ash. Ash is the one who made the match as entertaining as it could be, other than just doing the moves in the ring. Because remember, like I said, I'm the type of person that likes an all-around type of match instead of a spot fest, or just a ground and pound match, or just chain wrestling or something like that. You got to have at least a little bit of everything. It doesn't have to be in great proportions, all 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. It doesn't work that way. You have to learn how to balance it. And as much as not everyone is really fond of Ash, because I'm sure they just can't. They're like, why do I care about Dana Brooke? I don't give a damn about Dana Brooke. Yeah, she got a great pair of tits. She's a good-looking woman with a great ass. Why do I care about it? Well, sometimes you need a woman or a male wrestler, doesn't matter which one, that can have a comedic attitude, that can make moves look way more exaggerated, so you know that this person who's a pain in the ass gets nailed and they flounder all over the place just right to make it look at least not just decent, but good. And I believe Ash is the best one out of all these women who does it. Do I believe she's a great wrestler? No, she's an okay wrestler. Do I believe she's great on the mic? No, she's good on the mic. Do I believe that she knows how to make a character? She's good at a character. Do I believe that she can lead a match? She can lead it to a certain extent. And she has charisma. All around, Ash has everything to be a good wrestler, but not a great one. That's what she is. She's not here. She's here. And like I've always told you guys, it's not always about being the greatest wrestler or being the greatest spot person or being the greatest chain wrestler. It's about being a good wrestler that is relevant. Relevancy is more important than just having the greatest matches. You could be the greatest wrestler you want to be, but if you're not relevant to people, if you're not something that people remember, why do you care? As a wrestling fan, seeing someone there, they can do every move under the sun, but if you don't feel anything other than the match itself, that you think more of them other than the match, then they're not relevant. And when it comes to Ash, she has a certain level of relevancy. It's not just seniority, it's relevancy. She knows how to make something interesting. Doesn't mean it's always great, and it's not. Look, I like Ash. She's got a great pair of tits. She's a beautiful woman, and in real life, she's actually very sweet. But as a pro wrestler, do I believe that she's the best there? No. But all around can make at least the match itself better than it could be. And in the end, what did we get? We got the Ashes winning and retaining the titles. I didn't expect them to job here. And to be honest, they shouldn't. Because as it stands, yes, you're going to have Spitfire taking the titles back. Or if the Meta Girls won it, or Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, yes, you would have them go and take it to NXT, and that would be over there. But if they're not willing to send the titles over to NXT, and it's going to stay on TNA TV, you got to make sure that these women or men, counting on what you think, it got to be interesting. And with Ash and Heather, they are with the concierge, the former Iceman. That's just me. Next, the international. Well, should I do the 6-man? I'm going to do the international championship first. Then I'm going to do the 6-man with X-Pac in it. There's a reason why I'm doing this one first. When you looked at the match and you saw that the Northern Armory came out in mass, and then Macklin himself also came out in a mass that pretty much Eric Young gave him, and then he broke it and took out the Armory at first. You're thinking, okay, he's not going to be a part of the Armory, which that's fine. And the match itself was decently good. Yes, you got the normal. What can I think about when it comes to Icarus and Saints? I'm telling you this. They're both great wrestlers. They are. They're great tag team wrestlers. But when you see them dealing with Macklin, they feel a little underwhelming. Not because they're not good at what they're doing. It's because it feels like they shouldn't have been out there. That's the thing for me personally. The thing was that, yes, the rest of the Armory was outside. You see Icarus there, you see Saints there. I believe his name is Saints. And you see them both out there, and you see them trying to help out. But it feels like it didn't need it. When you look at the match itself, when you look at how Eric and Mac really did the work, I think they really didn't need them out there. After the match, yes, they can run outside, they could attack. That's what I felt. Or maybe near the end of the match, they could have came out and messed around in the match. That's what I feel could have been a better situation. But what do we have? Macklin managed to retain his title. And they made it very clear when it came to Tom and Matthew that if this match goes south for Macklin, he will be the first wrestler from TNA history, any part of history, that ever lost the title in his first defense. Because it's never happened in the company's history. In the 23 years the company's been in existence, no one's ever lost the title. And they made that very clear about that. And, of course, he won it. And then what do we get? We get, I can't remember who brought in that. I think it was Icarus who brought in the chain. I can't remember who, but I think it might have been Icarus. And they tried to wrap it around his neck. And they tried to choke him out, which They did. But I will say this. Seeing that Macklin's like this makes me think of one or two things. One, Macklin is going up against the Armory again. He will be dealing with Eric Young again. He'll deal with Icarus. He'll deal with Saints. But I feel that he's going to take each one of them out, which will lead to Eric and him again, and probably will be for the International Championship again. But I also think, wouldn't it be interesting that Macklin would get a partner who is a former military soldier that will come into TNA? Now, I have heard rumors that there's going to be another person coming in, other than Indy Hartwell, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. Yes, Indy is now part of TNA. I do know. I'll talk about it in a few minutes after the 6-man tag, if I don't forget. But I think there's another person coming, and I'm kind of hoping that they were legitimately a former military soldier, because it would be kind of cool to see that Macklin would be working with another soldier, which would really be interesting. Two soldiers working together to take care of a common enemy. 6-man tag. You got the system without JDC because he had travel problems. So Moose, like I said, had to do a second match. And then we had, and I was a little confused. This is kind of confusing because when you looked at Thursday, when you heard, and this is where I get confused. You hear Ace say, you can't get Wes. No, not Wes. You can't get Wentz. And I can't get Chris. We need another person. Then they try to get X-Pac. They got Sean's number. And they're showing it on screen. And I'm thinking, okay, X-Pac's going to wrestle. But then Wentz shows up. And then X-Pac is supposed to be on the outside then. And I'm like, wait a minute. Then what happened? What happened now? Why couldn't X-Pac wrestle? He got in the ring eventually, and he did do some moves. So what was the deal? What happened? If your show Impact says openly that we can't get Wentz and we can't get Chris, and you're gonna get Sean, and I'm like, what just happened here? I'm confused. Why wasn't he in the match? You got Wentz come back, and they didn't really address it. And I'm like, what the fuck? But was the match bad? No. It was actually a very good match. But the thing that made it much more interesting was because X-Pac could be X-Pac. Even though he didn't use the name, he was wearing a D-Generation X shirt. And he's going, like everybody else was doing it. And hearing Tom say, when the match was over, and of course, it was Wentz who basically pinned a Moose, because Moose did get pinned. I'm like, hearing him say, Tom, did you ever believe that a member of D-Generation X was going to be in TNA television or any type of show? And hearing Matthew say, no, it actually was something important, because they could never acknowledge X-Pac. Of course, they couldn't use his name, but he goes by Sean. He goes by his real name. But the thing is that hearing them say D-Generation X was in TNA, when people hear that, that is going to make people very curious that, wait, we got a recognition of D-Generation X in TNA. How far are they going to go? Will we get someone from TNA coming back that was in D-Generation X, but can never be acknowledged as a D-Generation X wrestler? It's now going to be some people are going to be thinking that. Now, do I believe that? I can't say yes or no. I'm not going to say yes, because you don't know how far they're going to go in this collaboration. So I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes either. But because they were willing to say it, either that's a hint that someone else, maybe Road Dogg, may show up again. Of course, Road Dogg was there, but he never could admit he was D-Generation X. Or Diesel. Or, would be very unlikely, but it would be interesting, Shawn Michaels. I don't think Triple H will go over to TNA. If they did, if Paul went over there and showed up just to talk, because he can't wrestle, as you know, he can never wrestle again. He had a heart problem. It's genetic. It's hereditary. He is now unable to wrestle ever again, but he could show up and talk. So you never know. If that happens, that will give some type of surge to TNA. I'm just saying it not because I'm expecting it, but you never know. It may never happen, but because X-Pac was recognized, you never know. Let's move on. Now, let's talk about Indy Hartwell. Indy showed up. She is now signed to TNA. Now, I know and I heard that she was excited. She's always loved TNA. And she was actually thinking about going to TNA many years ago, but she got taken in by NXT. So now she's signed to TNA. Sexy woman has now been signed. That sexy Aussie has now been signed to TNA. I believe she's Aussie, yeah. And the situation here is this. They got another woman in. Great. I'm glad they got another woman in. The question's going to be, how are they going to book her? This is where things get interesting. When you bring someone in, you have to have a plan how you're going to book them. I don't know what they're going to do with Indy. Not one bit. Now, they did talk about, well, we need to go back to Australia. Yeah, of course she's Australian. What am I saying? Is she Australian? Of course she's Australian. And they were considering going back to Australia, but hopefully not through Oceanic Pro Wrestling, because they need to get their proper cameramen there. Don't go through Oceanic again, not with their cameramen, because it was garbage the last time they did it. Hopefully, they learn their lesson and they bring their own cameramen and stop being cheap. That's just me. Now, Santana and Mustafa Ali, Falls Count Anywhere. You had, I don't know, I don't remember the name of the dance group, but they look Indian. They look like an Indian dance group. It was cool to see them, but also it felt a little out of place because I knew it was going to be something that Ali wanted, and it was cool. But the people kind of, when they showed people looking at it, they kind of looked a little like, what the? That's the type of situation we had. That it wasn't a bad thing seeing this Indian dance group dancing with the drum. I think I got shots of them. I've already shown them. And the thing here is, it was good, but the fans seemed a little perplexed because they probably knew it had to be Ali, but they kind of felt it was a little off, that you wouldn't just see it like this, at least for a few of them, for what few they were showing. It wasn't bad for me. It was actually quite interesting. Then we got, I know he calls them what he calls them. I still call them the cabinet. I think he should have called them Ali's cabinet. But everyone comes out. Skylar is there. He comes out. Then we get, well, here's the thing. Seeing Santana with two current champion boxers, cool. I don't watch boxing. I haven't seen boxing since the late 90s. I don't even keep up with boxing. Legitimately, I have not seen boxing and really cared about it. Not just seen it, but care about it since the late 90s. I stopped watching it. But seeing that they're current champions, real champions, was cool. And they came down from the stands with him. But the thing is that seeing them there, but not really seeing them interfere with Skylar or Hunch, it kind of felt like, if you're going to have these guys here, don't you think you should do something with maybe one of them? And they didn't have to literally break the jaw of Skylar or Hunch, but at least do something. Unless I missed it, you guys could tell me below if I missed one of them hitting, because I didn't see it. They didn't really interact much. The match was actually, I believe this was the best match for me personally. I love this match the most. It's number one for me. And seeing how far they went with it, I felt that this really helped. Now, admittedly, when you look at the beginning of the match, when you see that Santana does nails Ali, and he decides he wants to do a spinning jump off one of the turnbuckles, he messes up, and it looked really bad, like he almost kind of messed up his knee. And then you see Ali messed up I think at least once or twice. But as it got more and more aggressive, I'm going, okay, boys, you're going to ramp this up. How far are you going? And they went pretty damn far with it. How many tables did they go through? 3 tables. The first one was Ali went through 1 table. Then the second table, Tasha Spears interferes with the match when Santana almost got the pin. She interfered once. And then she jumps onto the ring skirt, smacks him in the face. And he's like, don't you do this. Don't you mess with me, woman. And this is the thing. These are 2 New Yorkers. Understand. She a New Yorker. He a New Yorker. And pretty much we have our certain ways we do stuff. And in this situation, he decides to do a razor's edge on her ass and put her through a table. Well, a razor edge powerbomb, because he puts up on her shoulders. I think I got a shot of it. He powerbombs her like it's a powerbomb, but he's doing a razor's edge as he's doing it. She covers her neck. She's fine. But it would look good. And the third one, I do believe Santana was put through a table as well. Yeah, he was. Then we get the barbed wire bat. And in the end, we get Santana winning the match, which really helps Santana. This really solidifies that this story that he's doing where he was here 2 years ago, made it very clear. His daughter gave him a Christmas card saying, please stop drinking, and he went from here and he's going up. This is a real life and a real story. It's a work and a shoot. And I find it to be very well done. Question's going to be, how far are they going to go with him? How far is TNA going to push Santana? Is he going to the top, or is he only going to go where Macklin is after he deals with Eric Young and starts fighting for the international championship? That is going to be a big question. How far is Santana going to go? Because he's becoming very popular. Now, here is the match that I was not fond of. Now, I'm sure you're going to say, what? It's not about the match quality. I'm making it very clear. I knew the match quality was going to be good. And it was a good Knockouts Women's Championship match. I want to make that clear. And I want to make it very clear again. I'm making it clear again. I am not against Tessa Blanchard. Whatever she did, I don't know if it's true or not. But the key for me, which I made this clear months ago. Look, she showed up at Genesis, January 19th. How long has it been? Barely 3 months. And how many women has she gone through? Zaya Brookside? No. Rosemary? No. Ash? No. Heather? No. Ling Yang Lee? Yes. And then she has a tag match, which she does get, pretty much, does get the opportunity to pin a Marsha Slamovich. Now, I know she also had another match along with Cora Jade and stuff, but I'm not counting that because that's from NXT. And you could say, well, that's fresh meat. No. No. It don't count. You know why? Here's the problem. And I want to say it again, and you've probably been seeing images, probably right here on my shoulder, what I managed to take from the match. This is not about how good the matches Tessa Blanchard has. This is about the story of just Tessa Blanchard showing that she's the biggest and toughest bitch in TNA. And she hasn't done it. She hasn't done it. She hasn't proven one damn thing. You can say, oh yeah, she beat Jordan Grace, but Jordan Grace was leaving. And it was reported that Jordan Grace did not want to do the job. That's the problem. Guys, I'm not angry that she lost the match. It's fine. That was the right decision. She's not going to get the title now. Fine. But I said this, even if she was going to go through this and lose, it was not the right booking. Because let's make it very clear. Tessa needed to prove, after being gone for 5 years, that she can go through the entire roster of everyone, no matter if they're a heel or a damn face. Are you hearing me? Heel or face. She had to go through them all. Even if it took 4 or 5 months to go through everyone and have a story or two. Have a story with Rosemary. Have a story with Xia Brookside. Have a story with Ling Yang Lee. Have a story with other women, but didn't. And you're going to say, dude, she had a story with Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace was leaving, and it was reported that she was not interested in doing the damn job. I am sorry. You want to make her booking mean something. This is not about if I believe she's racist or prejudiced. It's not. I just want this woman to be booked correctly. And she wasn't. They gave her 3 months of a build with only 2 wins. 2. Because I know you're going to say it's more than 3 wins because it was with Jordynne Grace. No. Because there's controversy with Jordynne Grace because of what was going on in the back. Because no one knew that she was coming in. You want to at least minimize the voices. Look, at one point during the match, people were literally chanting, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." You want to hear it again? "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants. Why would they be doing "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants in a Knockouts Championship match? That is not good. That means they were not feeling the match. Yeah, eventually they did. But if you're hearing "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks," that means most of that fans were not feeling Marsha working with Tessa. There was something wrong. Guess what it was? The Los Angeles fans were not feeling it because they legitimately were not feeling Tessa. It's not about they were feeling Marsha because they always cheered for Marsha on and off. And yes, they booed Tessa, but if they started chanting Cena chants, that means at one point they were not buying what was going on. And that is why I felt that her rise in the last over 3 months has been inappropriately done. That's all I wanted to say. Now, let's see. The tag match, the Nimitz versus the Hardys. I knew that this had to end one way. Now, was it going to be a bad match? No. Ryan and Nick, who are now, for the first time in their lives, tagging together. Because, remember, for 20 years, Nick was not tagging with Ryan. Ryan has been working on his own, of course, in the Indies and then AEW and now in TNA. But he never really tagged with his brother. They both have been working separately. Him in the Indies and him in WWE. And now, in the last year or so, this is the first time they've tagged together, probably traveling together for the first time. And it must be fun for them. So I expected, because of the way they've been booking this was only going to go one way. And seeing how the match went, which was alright, it wasn't bad. And it was Jeff who did the job because, well, guess what? Ryan wanted to make it about Ryan because once Danger Zone was done on Jeff, Ryan tagged in and got the win, and they got the titles. And it was a good match. I actually enjoyed the match. It wasn't as great as Santana and Ali, but it was a good match. And this is what we got. This is what we're going to have. We got the Nimitzes as the current TNA champions. And many people are going to like it. Many people will not like it. But to be honest, it makes perfect sense. Because now you're going to have another situation similar to Ash of Elegance and Heather, where you got one person who is a legitimate good wrestler in like a Heather, and someone who's more comedic, an Ash. And what we got? We got Ryan, who is more comedic, but can wrestle. And you got Nick, who is able to wrestle and make something out of it. So I'm not surprised. The question is, where they're going to go with them next. I'm hoping they'll rush going to Under Siege and making a match that really doesn't make any sense. but this is what you get. Final match. Three-way for the World Championship. Kaz, Ethan, Joe. People were into the match. People liked the match. People cheered for Joe. People booed Kaz and Ethan. Seeing Ethan get put through a table the way he did, I thought he might have gotten actually hurt a little bit. Seeing the last part of the match, seeing Kaz go through a table, which didn't break in just one, it broke 1, 2, and then a 3. I'm going like, oh, please don't tell me he actually got hurt there, because the thing didn't shatter and split in half. It just broke into 3 pieces. This was a good match. It wasn't one of the greatest, and the story compensated for because of the rotator cuff injury. But it looked good for Joe Henry. He does take care of Ethan. Ethan's the one who does the job. I'm not surprised. And in the end, Joe raises the title until we get the trick of the day. Trick Williams shows up, gives him a kiss to the face with his knee, and now he is the next challenger for Joe Henry. Now, do I believe this is going to be good? Yes. But I do not know if this is going to be on TNA TV or is this going to be on NXT TV. My guess is they may do this on NXT. But I had a feeling when it came to Trick, they were going to do something with him. And this is a test. For me personally, I think this is a test to see how far Trick has come. Because now he's going to go over to TNA. He's going to probably have a couple of matches there. And Joe will probably have some matches in NXT. Will this be set up for Under Siege? I don't know. My guess is it may be set up for NXT TV. But we will at least get something that will be cross-platform. Was this a good show? Yes, it was. And seeing that Trick Williams is the one in, remember what I tell you. What have I told you? Those who are not in the main title picture anymore, that have now gone from here to here, are the ones they generally throw over there. Or, if they're not here to here, they're not really doing anything. Not because they don't have anything booked for them yet. It's like a lull. That's the reason when you dealt with Moose dealing with, of course, it was over in NXT. So, it was champion to champion when it came to Moose and it came to Overfemi. But usually, anyone that goes to TNA, they went from here or here, they're down here, and either going to be rebuilt again or they're about to go over to the main roster. So I don't know what's going to be for Trick. But this is my thoughts about this. This was a good show. You can watch it. You can like it. If you save it, you find a way to save it, save it. I truly believe that this will be one of the more flairful shows. Audio was good. Cameras were decently good. And Millie was a little choppy during the Ultimate X match, but that's understandable. There were 6 people there. They were all over the place. But I can say that lighting was pretty good. Audio was good. Camera work was good. The work in the back was good. At Millie, I'm not too happy. They kept showing stars. And guess what? They messed up on one of the stars. They showed somebody else instead of the actual star, Barbara something. Barbara somebody. I don't remember her name. I haven't watched in so long for like modern TV or movies. Except for a few. So they messed up on the star that was supposed to be presented. Who's supposed to be known for decades. This is where you wish that wrestling promotions like WWE and TNA would stop doing that. Stop showing stars there. Even if they are there, you don't need to show them every single movie or every single show, every single pay-per-view, every time. It can backfire like it did with TNA. But it's just me. Peace.